Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Clarified Moments, the podcast. Glad you guys decided to join in. Listen, man, I got some stuff on my mind. Just want to give you guys some point of clarity today. So subscribe, like, and share this video, and hopefully it brings some clear conscious thought to your world and to your perspective. My first point of clarity is our skin color is not an organ. It doesn't think, it doesn't formulate ideas. It's merely a genetic result of our parents in which we have no choice. Guys, we got to stop this, man. This is madness. You know more racist because of your skin color than you are a victim because of your skin color. And it's the content of a person's heart. It's the content of your heart and your ideas that you subscribe to that undermine your ability to do what you're saying. When we're saying the same thing, don't judge me because of my skin color. Don't characterize me because of my skin color. Doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing. But we're saying it, but we're projecting that on others. Again, the same thing. It's just weird, as my daughter likes to say. The oxymoron is screaming, look beyond my skin color. And then at the same time saying, see value in my skin color. You want me to look beyond it, but you want me to see the value. Black power, black pride, black enterprise. I mean, I can use the example of white power, white pride, white nationalists. Like, it's the same thing. We're screaming the same thing. I'm not against blacks. I'm not against whites. What I am against is the energy of racism. And guess what? I'm afraid to say this, but man, some of us, some blacks, browns, whatever you ascribe to, we develop the same old things that's in the hearts and minds that of people that we say we're against, racism. And guess what? Black people can be racist too. I know that might sound hard to believe, but surprise, black people can be racist too. Listen, we were put here to operate in a high degree of purpose. The 3 laws of purpose. I mentioned this in the last video. Philosophy, strategy, and compromise. It's these 3 laws that determine your degree of purpose. What are you doing with your degree of purpose? What is your philosophy on life? What is your strategy on life? And will you compromise in life to get what you want? Anyone can violate these laws, man. Black, white, blue, purple, it don't even matter. Anyone can violate these laws. We got to be honest with ourselves. A lot of you have contaminated your philosophy, your strategy, and your compromise because of this movement. I'm talking about the people who are protesting from a good, sincere place. They really think they're doing something good, but in reality, they're hurting the situation. Not the ones that are acting like optimistic or opportunist animals, but the good people. They're a little misinformed, but you know, if we really look within ourselves, the energy that we're feeding, you'll see it. I mean, look around. It's crazy. Communities, economy, the fabric of our society being ripped apart. For what? Because of the strategy, the philosophy, and your level of compromise. Systematic racism. I mean, this notion of systematic racism has plagued America for years. Ask Jay-Z, Oprah, and all these billionaires, LeBron James, they've navigated the system perfectly. Why come the systematic racism ain't affected them? This utopia that we're talking about, that we want, the notion that law and leadership, which is subjective anyway, will keep people from doing wrong, is a fallacy. Human beings are flawed anyway. It's self-culture, personal responsibility, and development. That key right there, most people don't want to recognize. Will establish a form of decency and this so-called perfection that we're looking for. We advocate perfection in others, but we're not projecting that on ourselves. We're not holding ourselves accountable for that. It's impossible. It's a fallacy. There, listen, there are bad cops, yes. There are racist people, yes. Both sides. Again, I said earlier, don't don't act like you're surprised that a white person can be racist and as well as a black person. There's an ancient proverb that says all things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. We really need to reevaluate what we're really protesting. We need to be protesting the low degree of purpose in all of humanity, not just in law enforcement, not just in whites, but in all of humanity, blacks included, because we got low degree of purpose in us too. So again, ladies, gentlemen, we really need to reevaluate what we're doing. We really do. Because the compromising and the strategy, the compromising and the purpose of the whole movement is undermining everything. Not that I even agree with it, but let's just say I subscribe to it. We got people energizing hatred and bitterness, energizing the energy of hatred, bitterness, and wrath and strife and revenge. For what? Most of us are so far removed from experiencing true racism that our protest is in vain. I'm not saying that we can't protest and that we can't protest for and advocating the lives of others. Obviously, George Floyd, the way he died, and again, a lot of this is subjective. We don't know what was in that man's heart. Now, Aubrey, considering that the witness has came forward and in the trial said that he called the man an N-word before he shot him. Considering that, excluding that he may be saying that just to save himself, because humanity or human beings have been known to lie to save themselves. But let's just say that's certain and true. Okay, chalk it up. That's one example of racism. But again, we don't know what was in this officer's heart. But to subjectively suggest that in every situation between law enforcement that turned out negatively, that turned out that someone lost their life, that racism is behind that energy. I mean, come on, man. There's no clear conscious thought in that. And for us to subscribe to it and continue to feed this energy and pass it and project it upon others, we've got my Caucasian friends. Listen. And I know you've probably heard this. I need to look in the camera. I need to say this. What you're doing is disingenuous. What you're doing is a lie. To kneel, to confess that you have white privilege and you feel sorry and you feel bad, you're literally saying what most people are calling you, that you are a racist. And you recognize that you have had privilege and privileges that others have not had. It's disrespectful. It's demeaning to me. I don't know about others, but it's demeaning. What it's saying to me is that you feel like you're superior than me. You have had privilege. You recognize it. And because of that, you are superior than me. I'm inferior to you. It don't make any sense. And you're not helping matters. Remember, all things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Just because you can, that don't mean you should. We need to step back, pull back the layers of the situation, go develop yourselves, get some understanding, some knowledge. And just listening to people rant and rave and say that they are upset doesn't mean you're developing, doesn't mean you're gathering knowledge. You're gathering information, but not knowledge. Because knowledge is all inclusive, and it includes wisdom, application, how to get the knowledge, understand the knowledge, and apply it. Or the information, I mean. Get the information and apply it. Like, come on, man. That just doesn't make any sense. We on this guilt trip tour, and it's not helping matters. All it's doing is, again, feeding the energy. It's condoning the hatred and bitterness that apparently is in the hearts of many, that has been simmering forever. You're co-signing what people are actually saying now. Those who are walking in that movement, who have all this hatred and bitterness and revenge that's already in their heart, what you're saying is you've confirmed it. They were right to feel that way, because now you're acknowledging that you had this privilege. It's not calming anyone down. Again, you're hurting matters. You're not helping matters. And again, this idea that every situation between law enforcement and just the civilians that turned out to have an unfortunate outcome is racist is a lie. It's a lie. And those of us who have subscribed to that and who are continuing to push that narrative are wrong. I mean, I hate to say it. You're just wrong. Because everything needs to be taken into context. Did George Floyd deserve to die that way? No. But neither did the officer, the retired 77-year-old police officer who was killed, murdered, and then recorded. That he didn't deserve to die that way neither. For what? So opportunistic animals, call it like it, call a spade, can break into a pawn shop and get what they want. The loss of life is a loss of life. And if you don't truly know the energy behind the perpetrator, then you can't label it racism. That incident between George Floyd and the officer could be, I'm looking at it as the fact that I don't know for sure that it's racism. I'm looking at it as poor training. And whether you agree with me or not, on it being that particular incident being racism, you have to be honest and you have to admit, at least we know that the law enforcement throughout the country, the training that they have is antiquated. It needs to be updated. It needs to be reformed. So if there's any good thing that's coming out of this, it's that. But all this other stuff, there's no clear conscious thought in that. It's zombie-like thought. It's subscribing to the common think tank. And unfortunately, a lot of us are getting wrapped up in it. I got family and friends, God-fearing people, supposedly, that are walking around with bitterness and hatred in their heart, using their social media capital to not only continue to push this narrative, but to energize that energy of hatred and bitterness and wrath and revenge. You don't know what you're doing? You don't see what you're doing. You don't recognize what you're doing. Well, this is your point of clarity. I might be the avenue that's telling you what you're doing, and hopefully you'll see it and wake up. We talk about being woke, but no one's awake. There's a difference. We need to wake up. That's principalities, and for those of us that are spiritually enlightened. I hate to even use that term, but just for lack of a better term, just to bring some context to it. Those of us who are spiritually enlightened, we know that we're battling against principalities and spirits that don't even have anything to do with the flesh. I said earlier in the video, you're no more a racist because of your skin color than you are a victim because of your skin color. It's what you subscribe to in your heart and your mind that puts you in these categories. As Martin Luther King said, don't judge me because of my skin, but the content of my heart. How do you know what's in a person's heart? Now, mind you, your value system usually plays out in your actions. So what you value plays out in what you do. So in all fairness, that's one way you can know what's in a person's heart. Just watch what they do. What are you doing that's bringing value and adding value? Because you put this black box on your social media and you block it out, and you in solidarity, you are protesting against police brutality. And is that really bringing value and adding value? And your whole timeline, I've seen people go and pull up the atrocities of the past, like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, where we know this stuff was rampant, and put it on their timeline and then comment on it, like and share, and continue to energize this narrative that we ain't progressed, we've regressed. If that's the case, we wouldn't have all these billionaires and millionaires. And for you billionaires and millionaires who are pushing this narrative, and you sit behind your 10-foot high walls and think you're so disconnected, and you're protected, and that you're not subject to this energy when it's at your doorstep, then maybe you'll remember what I've said. All things are permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Just because you can, that don't mean you should. Because you can't contain evil. You can't contain the energy, and the energy of hate, bitterness, wrath, and revenge is evil. So you can't contain that. And the problem is, those of us that are in these communities that are being brutalized by this energy through our own people, by the way, a lot of times. But then I've seen some videos which is mind-boggling to me, where I've seen white people, Caucasians, my Caucasian friends, come to these communities and tear up stuff. I seen a video where there was a trucker driving, and he was trying to go through, and I don't know what part of the country this was, but he was trying to go through a crowd of protests. And it seemed like to me he was operating in a lot of restraint, because he's operating I don't know how many tons the truck was, but he's operating a tractor trailer that obviously can destroy a human being just like that, if he really wanted to use it to do that. And these individuals were upset because he was trying to. Now, mind you, this was a highway. It's an open road. It's against the law to impede traffic, especially on the freeway. Peaceful protests It's supposed to be off the road. But because you're angry and you're upset and you're demanding quote unquote justice, you feel like you can do whatever you want to do. The same thing you're advocating against, by the way, that police officers are doing whatever they want to do and it's wrong. But your wrong is right. Yeah, let me say that again. Your wrong is right. No clear conscious thought. Well, anyway, a lot of my Caucasian friends in this particular video, in this particular instance, one of them in particular, which was like, it was just demonic to say the least, jumps up on the front of the tractor trailer, grabs a bar that's on the front of the trailer or the front of the cab, braces himself and begins to kick the windshield, trying to break the windshield to get in the cab. Dude, what are you doing? Come on, man. Then you got another guy welling on the side of the driver's side door, where obviously the driver is trying to break the window again. Eventually they get him out, rough him up a little bit, and then they give him to the police. I don't know what law he supposedly broke, but they give him to the police. Thank God. I mean, they could have done much worse, but they did rough him up. I mean, I guess because, since the police are not doing what they're supposed to do, it's our responsibility to do it. I don't know. But again, low degree of purpose is what's causing these calamities in the earth. It's causing us to move in this direction. We're imperfect beings living a temporary life experience anyway. But operating in a high degree of purpose minimizes that imperfection. What are you doing in these three areas? Compromising on your philosophy and on your strategy? What are you doing? We really need to reevaluate what we're doing, because you're undermining the ability for humanity to reach their full potential. You're synergizing division and all this stuff that you say the president is doing and this particular official is doing, and those that don't subscribe to what you believe, are doing. If you are white, for instance, and you don't subscribe to your privilege, then you're advocating division because you didn't acknowledge that you are this or you are that. You pushing these narratives. You're the ones that are promoting this division. You guys, this is Clarified Moments. Hopefully, again, this video brought a level of clarity, clear conscious thought to your perspective, to your world, to the lens that you're seeing things through. Take care. Again, life is no more than a journey of moments, and it's in those moments that create your journey. So be clear in the moment.